Hi everyone, my name is Raquel and I'm the lead animal care specialist here at Habitat Africa. On January 13th, 2020, we welcomed a litter of 7 African painted dog pups. And here 1 year later, I'd like to give you guys an update, or a pup date if you will, as our puppies turn 1 year old. So we have 2 other keepers here with us who are going to throw some bison ribs in, and we'll get to see them eat and interact with each other. So I don't know where the rest of them are, but they'll come soon when they hear these guys eating. We have 9 dogs here in our pack at Brookfield Zoo. We have Mom Ngala, who's at the top level right now, all the way to the left. And then we have her sister Selous, who's one of the ones on the mid-level. And then we have the 7 puppies. We have 2 female pups and 5 male pups. The girls are named Daisie and Roanne. The boys are named Kashyyyk, Prospect, JP, Cesar, and Masikio. When these guys were born, they weighed about 300 grams, probably were about the size of a Beanie Baby, and in the last year they've done quite a bit of growing. They look almost the same size as their mom and their aunt at this point, and they weigh between about 70 and 90 pounds. At this age in the wild, these guys would become full-fledged hunters in the pack. So for a while now, they would have been going out on hunts and watching their mom and dad and aunts and uncles hunt and take down prey, but at around 12 months, they are part of the hunting group. Today they got bison ribs. We also offer them beef shank bones and sometimes whole prey like rabbits, and sometimes even large carcasses on a zip line. In the wild, these guys would take down, they're great hunters. They take down mostly medium-sized antelope, things like impala or Ngala. Right now, our pack of, our 7 puppies consume about 20 to 25 pounds of meat a day as a group. In the wild, dogs usually eat about 10 pounds of meat a day, but they can kind of feast and fast. So sometimes if they take down a large prey animal, they'll eat a whole bunch of meat at once, and then they won't eat for several days. Because these guys sometimes will go long distances to take down prey, their stomachs can actually fit a lot of meat, more than they would actually need to consume. But that's the way they transport meat back to the den site, and then they regurgitate it for any puppies that are too young to leave the den, or any adult dogs that stayed back to babysit. Usually in the wild, these guys live in packs from anywhere from about 2 to 30 animals. Usually larger pack size makes it much easier to hunt and to raise puppies. And researchers think they need a minimum of about 6 dogs in a pack to be successful at both reproducing and at hunting. You might have heard some loud noises as some dogs go to investigate another dog's rib bone. Those are some of the many vocalizations that painted dogs make. Those high-pitched ones that kind of sound like a bird are called twitters. They also make a distress call called a who call, and that travels a lot further distance than those high-pitched squeaks that they make. These guys are in the same family, the canid family, the same family as wolves and dogs, although they're distant cousins, but they do not bark and they do not howl.
Are they related to hyenas?
So they are not that closely related to hyenas. They're in the canid family, and hyenas are in their own family, but their family is a little more closely related to the cats. We get that question a lot here. One of the reasons I think we get it is they're both similar in size, hyenas and dogs, and they also have a sort of similar coloring. But that coloring helps them blend in with their environment, and painted dogs and hyenas live in the same habitat, so it makes sense that they would have similar coloring to blend in. Hyenas are also carnivores. They are also excellent hunters, but they will also scavenge for food. And hyenas will sometimes take painted dogs' prey. So painted dogs are very, very good hunters. Some people say that they're some of the most efficient hunters of any of the larger carnivores. And most times when they go out to hunt, they take down prey successfully. But because they're a little smaller than a hyena, when they take down prey, other bigger carnivores will come and try to steal that from them. So leopards, and hyenas and lions will come and try to take those carcasses that they've taken down. So they do the hard work, and sometimes other animals come and steal it from them.
How many pups are usually in a litter?
So litter size can get quite large. Usually between about 10 and 12 pups would be normal, but usually the more litters a female has, the more puppies in that litter. So 7 for a first-time mom, and the number that Ngala had here would be pretty normal.
Are they endangered?
They are endangered. So at one point in time, they think that there were hundreds of thousands of these guys roaming throughout sub-Saharan Africa. And over time, their population has dropped lower and lower, and now there's fewer than 6,000 of these guys left. Predominantly in southern Africa and in eastern Africa. Places like Zimbabwe and South Africa and Tanzania still have good populations. So one of the main reasons that they're endangered is because these guys travel over long distances to find food, and as their habitat, they've lost habitat, and more populated areas have popped up. Unfortunately, they sometimes get hit by cars and things like that as they move through those populated areas. Additionally, these guys are susceptible to a lot of the same diseases that our dogs at home can get, things like rabies and distemper. And there are a lot of dogs in Africa, pet dogs and feral dogs, and they can pass those diseases to the African painted dog. They are sometimes unfortunately caught in snares that are usually not set for them. They're usually set for the same prey animals that these guys eat, but as they're running through the bush, they sometimes get caught in those snares. So they're facing a lot of issues in the wild right now.
How long do the pups stay with their mom?
So it depends on the individual. Usually around 18 months is when we would consider puppies an adult dog. And around that time, groups of like same-sex individuals will start to kind of group off, and they may leave their natal pack, their mom and their dad. Sometimes the boys will stay longer, and these groups will go off together, and that's how new packs are formed. So if a group of girls might decide to leave, usually a female won't leave on her own. She'll leave with a few of her sisters, and then males from other packs will leave with their brothers, and these groups will come together and form a new pack. In a pack, a pack is made up of a female and her sisters, a male and some of his brothers. Only the alpha pair will breed. So even though there's aunts and uncles that are there with them, they help to raise the puppies. And these guys are what we call cooperative breeders. They really need those other individuals in the pack to help them raise puppies and to help them hunt. And that's why I said earlier that if there's fewer than 6 animals in a pack, usually they're not that successful. As human population has grown in Africa, unfortunately, painted dog pack size has gone down, which puts them in a risky spot as the human population continues to grow, because hopefully those those pack sizes don't fall below that 6 dog threshold.
Why are they so stinky?
That's a good question, and I'm not exactly sure what the best answer to that is. Just like a lot of the other canids, scent is one way that they communicate. So you'll sometimes see them scent rolling, and the alpha pair will do a scent marking ceremony where they urinate over the same spot and then defecate over the same spot to mix their scents together. So that's one way to tell other dogs that this is their territory, and that there's other dogs here. But beyond that, I'm not sure why the strong smell.
Okay, so why do they have such big ears?
So their big ears, one, obviously it helps them hear better, but 2, like our dogs at home will often pant to cool down. So they'll kind of hold their tongue out of their mouth and they'll pant, and that helps them cool down. These guys do not pant, and they do not sweat. So instead, they have those big ears, and when they're running through the bush, the cool air will get caught in those ears, and it helps cool the blood down in those ears, and then it cools their whole body down.
If they're from Africa, why are they outside in the snow?
So it doesn't normally get this cold in the places that they live, but they can go out for brief periods of time. So actually right now even the dogs have access to their warm holding space inside, so they're choosing to be out here in these temperatures, and they can go in at any point. And when it's really cold here, so when it drops below about 20 degrees, we normally keep the dogs inside, just so that they stay nice and warm, because this is not temperatures that they would be used to in the wild.
Can they swim?
That's a good question. I'm not sure how well they swim, but I've definitely seen dogs in the water. So I've seen, when I was in Africa actually doing a conservation project with African painted dogs, we did see the dogs playing on the riverbank and going, chest deep in the water. Our dogs here love water. We have a pool on the back side of the yard. It's too hard to see from our angle, but we fill it up in the summertime, and the dogs love to play in it. And they'll submerge themselves all the way up to their backs. But I'm not sure if they could swim across a river or anything.
Oftentimes there will be one dog up on top of the rocks. Are they keeping watch up there? What are they doing?
So they don't have a sentry animal, an animal that constantly watches over the pack, like a
Meerkat?
Meerkat, yes, exactly. But yes, they probably are just taking a good look at their surroundings. When they go up on that rock, they can see a lot further than when they're down on the lower levels. So they're probably just kind of looking out at the pack and at the surrounding area to make sure that there's no danger. In the wild, these guys are sometimes killed by lions, who do that to eliminate competition. So they don't eat them, but they do that to eliminate competition. And then puppies, sometimes hyenas and lions and leopards will take puppies for the same reason. And so they do have to be very careful of their surroundings and mindful of other predators in the area. So even though these guys are obviously protected here at the zoo, that's part of their instinct, is to constantly be checking their surroundings for danger.
How long do they usually live?
So they can live to about 10 or 12 years, probably a little shorter than our dogs at home. Well, that about wraps it up here at Habitat Africa. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you guys are enjoying your time at home, and thank you so much for supporting us during this time.